webmaster, Harry is out ill, and also Tina, the other webmaster, is out ill. And Jennifer is valiantly stepping in with Pressica as the assistant webmaster, but we're still losing some people out there in
Merry
Never
Christmas.
Never Land. So-
I'm gonna put you on hold just a second, then put you on speaker. Can you hear us? All right, good.
So I think what we have is, I think we have Fred Porter on Zoom. And I don't know if Mark can see us at all, but he can hear us because he's on speaker up here. So we're gonna muddle on through. I'm now opening the meeting. We do have a quorum. So I'm calling the meeting to order. The first order of business is to approve the minutes of 11/15/23. Those minutes are very brief, except for a lengthy presentation by Peter Peltier. And if you'll note, there are some of the questions that were asked and answered are on the minutes, but they're also in more detail on the backside of the information sent by Peter Peltier. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this. I did send those earlier out. Not the minutes, but those were so brief. But the information from Peter Peltier. So do you want to take a minute to look over that, or do I have a motion to approve? Bill Boardman, and Gareth Roberts second the motions. So any more discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous on approving the minutes, great. Next order of business is to review the designs of the Up Island Public Safety Garage and the Islesboro Health Center. I'm gonna start us off and then turn to Pete and Mark. We'll start with Mark for any comments. We'll first look at the site map for the Up Island Public Safety Garage. Mert, do you have a copy of that?
It's in a packet here, Mark.
This
big
is,
page, the big page.
this is the newest
So at the bottom.
rendering from Gartley and Dorsey. You'll see a lot of detail in here. Nothing, the biggest change, which we've already discussed in prior meetings, is that we are not going to put in a new road. We're going to use the existing road. And maybe if I could turn to Mark to add any comments you want to, Mark?
Sure. As Lauren mentioned, we are looking at keeping the existing road. The building itself, the existing road. We've discussed with Mert the apparatus maneuvering, the parameters. Okay with that. That portion has not changed to keep the existing road or to build a new relative to the site positioning. So we're trying to save money by keeping the road, but the function has not changed. So we're moving and rebidding in that manner. There are some improvements that Gartley and Dorsey is suggesting, like regrounding the road and creating proper drainage, but we're still in the process of evaluating that and what that means and what potential cost that might introduce. But there's no major road construction that's new.
Great, thank you, Mark. Pete, did you want to add anything?
No, I think that's pretty much.
Any questions from committee members?
Has the orientation changed? I mean, is it, no, the roof is still good for solar?
Oh, well, we are going to implement the flat roof there.
Oh, I missed that.
Flat roof.
Flat roof.
But that still can accommodate solar panels.
A flat roof, no pitch?
Single, it's a kind of a architectural term it's actually a low slope roof, EPDM drained off the building edge.
These are all, means to reduce cost.
I know, but
Yeah, flat roof.
I don't like it.
Yeah. I think what we need to do is come back with, a rendering that we can see the actual visual of what the roof looks like, Mark.
Okay,
We are not approving any of these today. This is an update. So, we're not going on record up or down with any of these today. So, yeah, if we could, at our next meeting, and actually before that, we should send out to committee members, what we're
Sure.
proposing.
we'll do.
All
do
of
that,
these.
yes. We understand it's a,
And perhaps, I don't know if it's possible, throw in a cost savings, pitch versus flat, what kind of cost savings you foresee in that?
okay,
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, and I meant to say that, from the very beginning when we started into this discussion. This is an update, we're not approving anything, but we think it's really important to keep you abreast of what changes are being proposed, especially because they're all having to do with reduced cost. Everything that we're proposing, it's a change, is to help us bring down the budget costs. We have tried to keep Cressica in the loop in terms of solar, et cetera. Do you have any comment on, in terms of the, change in the roof that you want to add in here, Cressica?
No, I just brought up to Mark the questions about, snow cover and things like that, yeah, we might be able to resolve. I just don't know yet with this new solar system that they're proposing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're still ironing out a few things, but Cressica is in the loop. Please let me know if there's anything that you're not getting, feedback on. Mark, do you want to add anything in terms of the Up Island Public Safety Garage?
No, I think that's it. We'll continue, we'll provide, the renderings and plans, whatever is required to convey the idea. And we can also get a, brief cost comparison. As Bill, asked for, we can just do a quick analysis on each scenario, related to cost and implications on solar, photovoltaics. And we can give you that information for brief analysis.
Great, thank you, Mark, thank you. Let's look at the rendering, the building exterior. At the moment, we're looking at, a visual, it looks like the same building we were looking at in the past, but if you'll notice, we have extended the building out to the right, and the roof is flat again. And I'm assuming that it's a similar case in which there is a slope, but not, that visually it will look more like a flat roof. Now, keeping the pitch roof over the building. I want to point out that approximately where the two people are standing in the picture, to the right of that will be blocked by the current municipal building. So yes, you will see this if you come into the front doors. As you approach closer to the building, you'll be able to see that the building extends out towards the north or to the right as you're looking at this. But most of that visual will be behind the existing municipal building. Does that all make sense to everybody? Mark, do you want to add anything to that?
Other than we are going to, and working on rendering, from a view perspective of driving into the site, which shows a portion of the department apparatus bay, which kind of screens a lot of the proposed low slope roof area.
Yeah. So,
From where the car is, basically to the north, is gonna be hidden by the existing building, the existing fire station, right?
yes.
And so those windows there, those offices will be looking out at that sidewall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the fire building, current existing fire building. Now, but, it may be, it may be a little further to the north, because if you'll notice, there's a portion of the building that's back further,
Yeah, see that.
and they will have more of a view. That's the, overnight accommodation.
What's the space between the new structure there and the fire station? Oh, what's that distance in feet?
It varies.
Well, I can see the step back a little more, but those two rooms,
Yeah, we can
we
get
don't know
that.
that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Mark, did you hear Bill's question?
I did, nothing on the building, location and siting has changed. So the distance between the existing building and the new hasn't changed, other than the portion, of the, on-call accommodations, which we've relocated to the north. None of that has changed, so, the only thing that's really changed is the flat roof or low sloped roof portion, which we're proposing. And we've articulated some of the building material and trim. But other than that, the position of the building has not changed. From memory, I think we're 75 feet to 50 feet away from the existing building. It is angled in a way, it's not parallel with the existing building. People in those offices will have sight lines to some of the parking lot and some of the trees that's in the little wetland area. It's in the middle of the drive. So they'll have some sight lines that are, you're not directly staring into the building facade, but yeah, none of that building siding changed.
And if you look at this, what's this called, this floor plan, everybody, you'll see that what Mark and Steve Glad have done is that section to the right, which is the north end of the building, that was along the top or west side of the building. That's where we had originally put the overnight accommodation and the training room. Because of the slope on the west side of the building, which caused quite an amount of extra cost to bring that up and make it solid enough to support the structure, they decided that the best thing to do was to bring the overnight accommodation and the training center around to the north end of the building, saving us quite a bit of money. So you'll see that that's a portion of the building that is now in the north side.
I think it was there once originally, I think.
Yes, the
Yeah.
very, very beginning.
I guess I didn't realize that the building was that far to the north.
To the west.
Fire station, no.
Oh, to the fire station.
From what Mark was just telling, I didn't realize that it was always that.
I think the closest is, like you said, 50 feet.
Yeah.
And then it goes off on an angle to 75 or more.
Yeah. Do we have any questions from committee members for Mark or for Pete? About the health center building? Again, we're not approving today. We're going to get more drawings with more detail in subsequent meetings. And Mark mentioned having a better visual so you could see what it looked like.
And when will we get the actual figures,
The
what?
change in cost?
Yeah, the change in cost.
We're gonna go through the timeline, which is up next, and that has a suggested date. And we'll walk through that in just a minute. So anything else on the health center building? Okay, so now let's everyone look at, I'm sorry. yes,
So
Bill.
that pitched roof, that, I guess it's I don't know what you call that roof, but that goes all the way to the back of the building, Pete, that whole follows all the way through, or is there a facade, is that kind of a facade?
Yeah, it stops at about, at the wall for critical care room is where
So it goes that far back?
yep, and the rest of it's,
And that would then
low
be,
slope.
so that would be a drop down to, there'd be a drop from there to the low slope
Yeah,
roof.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And the mechanical equipment would be in the attic, in the pitched roof.
In that, oh, yeah. What,
Air handlers and stuff like that.
you still have a utility room?
Yes,
HVAC?
yeah,
Okay. So that is usable space up there. of
It
some
is.
sort, Yeah,
it is.
there'll be just a drop down. How do you get up there?
Well, they talked about putting a pull down stairway, but they never looked great to me and they take up valuable
Yeah.
floor space up there, so we suggested,
Hold on.
no, fixed in place ladder outside and there'd be a door on that.
On the outside of the building?
Yeah,
And all of this,
Yeah, I think the space is important.
yeah, I think so.
I agree.
Yeah.
with that.
okay, the timeline. We just received this update, or I would have sent this to you in advance, because it's quite detailed. Linda's already asked a question about basically what, let's back up. Let's walk through some of these parts. We're in the redesign phase right now. Mark, do you have it in you to kind of walk us through this timeline?
I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, I can't access both.
Okay, that's fine.
Audio and then my screen at the same time.
Well,
I'll try.
I'm going to do seconds and talk just a little bit about it and see if Mark or Pete want to add into it. We're in the redesign section of it now, where we're doing value management and redesign. And that's why we're showing you some of these drawings, and we will follow up with more drawings. It looks as though what they're planning on that doing is through January, early January, and then being able to begin pricing in the first part of January into the end of January. So this is that section that we're looking at now. If you look at, I'm looking at number 5 through number 10, ending with make recommendations of award and set GMP, which is what Linda was asking about. So I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, that just recently we've backed off the bidding slightly for a week or so. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we need to add time, I think this is updated by Peter, so it should be the correct timeline. But we've added time back in to get more subcontractors' bids in. So that's going to back us off a little bit overall for the construction timeline. Number 11, I'm sorry, number 12 is where we bring in the Municipal Building Project Committee for approval. So at that point, the committee will look at the base contract and we'll be looking at the guaranteed maximum price. Will we be approving the guaranteed maximum price at that time, which looks like it's early February, towards the middle of February, Mark?
Well, it'll be a process, you'll get to review it, and then the final approval is what he's listing there, I was able to pull it up. Yeah, that starts on the week of the 31st, and is a 2-week process ending on February 13th.
Okay. And then we take this to the select board. I believe that Janet sent the select board and planning board timelines. I did as well. So these should be correct, or we'll adjust them as needed. So that's happening in the middle of February. Final permitting and approvals would be the first half of January into February. And the planning board, we have a question here. Repeatedly, planning board dates are put in here. We're not sure, completely clear whether or not the planning board needs to review the Up Island Public Safety Garage again. According to Dave Dyer, they do not. We're going to ask Peter Peltier and Mark to submit a letter to the planning board chair and copy Dave Dyer or vice versa, and ask them specifically if we need to have another review by the planning board. But according to Dave Dyer, we're through that process. So that leaves the Up Island Public the Health Center, and that will need to be reviewed. And they're looking at a date somewhere along the first half of February. So these are very tight timelines,
Really?
very tight timelines. So then building permit, the permit submission on February 15th. I'm sorry, January 15th. And is that CIO? Is that our CEO, Mark? In here it has CIO review. I think I've corrected that in letters, in notes to Peter, but I believe that should be CEO. Our person, Dave Dyer, is the CEO, not CIO.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you meant on that.
Okay, we can check on that. And then on the number 33, by February 6th, we should be having the building permits for the health center issued. Woo-hoo!
They've already been issued.
Yeah,
You're going back to them just because of the minor.
yeah, moving around the,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they could do that in one meeting, right?
yeah,
You
Well, that's-
would hope.
that's what we put. We put in a second meeting if required.
I mean, it's all, you've done all the real heavy work.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Okay, and then construction beginning. Mobilization around the end of February and start construction the very beginning of March. And that's what we're looking at this point. I'm sure you all want to take a closer look at this timeline, and maybe at our next meeting, we can go over it again. And if you have more questions, we can get a more thorough answer with Mark and Pete and the most recent information that we have. Bill, do you have any?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, the print bid documents. So before you could print those bid documents, wouldn't we have to have a approval from this board about at least, for example, the Up Island roof line? I mean, wouldn't that be part of your bids, what kind of roof you're gonna put on there?
Yeah, and that we're trying to work that, we can work, because we have a CM on board, we have a little bit more leeway in terms of what we ask the subcontractors, right? And, if we get to a point shortly, if we want to evaluate the real cost difference, we can get, Ledgewood to provide us an initial thought and run it by you folks in terms of slope roof versus pitch and say, okay, well, and I'm just gonna throw numbers out just for the sake of discussion.
Yeah.
$200,000 less to go to a flat roof on the garage. Then you can say, well, that's worth it. Or no, we would still like to consider the pitched roof. We can ask them to bid it both ways.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see that now, yeah.
So Mark, we're looking at maybe in sometime in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks at the latest to bring back more detailed drawings to the this committee to review. Is that your read on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that fit with your timeline, Bill?
I have no time.
Yeah.
Man, please.
Oh, okay, do we have any more comments or questions? I guess I feel like maybe we should have waited for this, but I just made me uncomfortable waiting too long to bring this to the committee, to give you an update and see the direction we're going in. And so we'll come back with more detail and, we'll make actual motions to move it forward.
And I'll make sure Jay gets, or have Pete drop him off, because he's gonna be the one that's gonna come in here a month from now
Yeah.
and change up everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We get good ideas and.
yeah. Good.
So there's no date yet for the next meeting.
No, I'll get together with.
But given this time, we've gotta do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
Pete, what's the height of that, or Mark, if you're still there, what's the height of that? We're back to the health center, of that, the front of that flat roof, that wall there that I'm looking at, in front of the car. What's
Yeah, it's about, 12 feet.
12 feet, that's and 11.6 on the back end or something like that, and something.
Yeah, it varies because of per code, we gotta slope the roof, the quarter inch per foot, and the distances vary, so the height varies. But they're both within that range.
Yeah.
We did, by going to a flat roof, we have to add roof structure.
Yeah.
That adds depth, and we have to leave room to, run our mechanical ductwork.
Yeah,
So that adds a little bit of height too. In putting the flat roof on a portion of the building, we had to raise, stretch the roof, scale the vertical dimension
Yeah.
higher.
yeah,
And what we've done is, I don't want to use the word play, but we
Yeah.
had play with some architectural features to accommodate scale, vertical scale. But I think it all works, you know, the scale is not a monstrously vertically challenged building. We kept the integrity of the entrance and the main
Yeah.
visual, gabled roof intact.
yeah,
And, the scale is appropriate there. We've added more detail and articulation as it relates to trim and, shingle siding to work with the cottage style.
Yeah.
So we've really thought about this, and we're very comfortable with the low slope roof approach. We do think, and they have verbal confirmation that will ease the construction cost considerably.
yeah, you think so?
So that was our focus for the whole, this whole redesign, really.
Mark, I'm looking at the timeline and develop and distribute bid packages is in the first week of January. Do we need to meet before that? It looks like, through, January 9th. I'm wondering if we could have a select, municipal building committee meeting on January 9th. The next date is a select board meeting on the 10th, so we could take our recommendations to the select board on the 10th.
Well, we'll definitely send more information. I think if you can make that, get a meeting scheduled before that would be ideal.
So January 9th would work, or should we back it off to the first week of January? That's gonna be pretty tough for people.
And the meeting is not the 10th, it'll be the 17th. Select board,
Oh, select board,
3, 17, and 31 in January. Select board.
oh, I had the 10th.
No, maybe you had that last year. Where's my? I'm gonna be on vacation.
Good idea. You do that, Bill. Good job.
So, okay, well, we'll have to get back with everybody and I'll look for a date that is gonna work for everybody. Try to keep your calendars.
So what are you envisioning that meeting to be? We'll have,
We'll have what you were asking
What I was
for, the
asking.
cost comparison. This is the design, the original design with a pitched roof
Yeah.
and not the flat or semi-flat roof.
Yeah.
And here's the cost difference, and any other questions that came up today, we'll, in terms of the structure, the design, we'll have those answers. Cost comparison. I don't know that we'll have an overall, we may be looking at, we won't be yet at the guaranteed maximum price,
Right.
so we won't know,
if we have to go.
relatively speaking, if our 200,000 is gonna make a massive difference because it's gonna be added on to another 400,000.
Yeah, right.
Or if we're really in the ballpark and it's worth paying the difference to have a pitch
Yeah.
roof, so,
We're going back to the town anyways.
yeah. Or at least in a discussion with the select board about the budget.
About those extra
Yeah.
funds.
So remind me again where before we can award, well, contracts, when they are awarded, say, let's say early, first week in March. Well, it says February 15th through March 4th, award contracts. Before that date, will we have the prices? Because I'm thinking if I'm gonna try, I don't know if I can make this spring bond. To go to the bond bank, I have to have all bids. So,
And when's that then? You have the deadline?
well,
on
that's
that?
in, like February 1st,
Oh, really?
so I don't think we are gonna make it, but
Yeah,
for the spring.
we won't, will we, Mark?
Not give Janet very, succinctly or clearly, but I
Will
think I
we,
got the gist.
will we have the final guaranteed maximum price by before February 1st? So that we could take it to the, municipal bond.
I'm gonna go back to if you could pull back the, schedule of the revised design and, schedule that Pete provided, it'll be on there. I remember the 13th of February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are those implications, Janet?
Well, it means I need to figure out how much money and when we're gonna need money. You know, we have some money.
Yeah,
And we're gonna borrow again at 1.75.
Yeah.
Is
is there a summer thing too? Is it just a spring?
spring and fall. So, I mean, we may decide, we may hold off as long as we can, we may borrow and like anticipation, bond anticipation note, and then come the fall.
Pay
Which
them off.
then we would know, get it from the bond bank, pay off the loan.
Probably what's gonna have to happen.
If we wanna go with bond bank, which
Yeah.
I know, I'll pick Vern's brain, he's still thinking.
Yeah, good.
If you want to engage, the company, the loaning company, then this schedule, provide schedule and start to talk about logistics with them, might be a good idea.
Who is that, Mark?
The international
Oh,
If we
okay,
went to Canada.
or the bond bank.
all right.
We gotta have the numbers
Yeah.
solid before we can go to the
Yeah,
bond
we
bank.
learned that last time,
Yeah. All right, we are moving forward as quickly as we can, but we've got to take the care that needs to be taken to make sure we end up with what we want. And that we understand the financial implications of what we're doing and we get that to the select board and to the community. So I think we're in good shape. I have to say, I just want to comment, and I want to ask Pete if he has anything to add to it. I've been extremely impressed with Ledgewood. Their communication has been excellent. They're very responsive. And, we're getting a lot of forward motion very quickly with them. Do you want to add
Yeah,
in?
and they seem to be, coming up with suggestions that we could change to make it, with the money that we've got.
All right, well, this was your news update from the municipal building
We're
committee.
absolutely right to have it now.
I thought I ought to have it, at least we thought we ought to have it, yeah.
Fred has his hand raised.
Okay, Fred?
Can you release your?
Probably couldn't hear us the whole time.
No, I don't have nothing.
Oh, hi, Fred.
All right, thank
Howdy.
you all for putting up with this, and thank Jennifer and Cressica for
Thank you all.
managing.
Yeah.
Yay. And we will come back, I will set a meeting as soon as I think it will work out in terms of the timeline and get back to you right away. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Happy vacation.
Thanks, Mark.
It's good.
No, we had to have that meeting, even if we couldn't.
I love that.
Not everything.
Gotta have it. Gotta be on building.
It's the wrong building, but don't discombobble thing, but.
Not at all. Is that line still open?
The very red light.
Speaker.
It's still reading.
You can pick up the phone and hang it up if that doesn't work.
There we go.
Thank you.
Easy way to look at it.
I hate meetings where it feels like it's.
Oh, I-
No.
Yeah.
It's hard to go on the front
Or it's
line.
just my dizziness, you know.
Oh, are you still dizzy?
No, it's better,